Hello everyone, this is Debbie Happy Cohen here with Joy Based Living, and today I want to talk about empowering joy in the face of somebody who's an emotional bully. I'm working with somebody right now who I care about very, very much, and she's had over the years different family members who would bully her, and she actually trained her kids that it was okay to be abused if it was your family that was doing it. Her husband wasn't abusive, but other family members were. Sibling, in-law, I don't want to go to too many details. So I kind of feel like, she's wanting to heal now. And one of the things that she's confronting is a family member who's wanting to visit and stay for more than a week. And just the idea of it, the person didn't even ask her. The person just said, yeah, I'll be there. And the person I'm working with I can see that she's feeling traumatized by the experience. So I like doing videos where my heart is really open and full. And because I care about this person so much, I want to share with you what we're doing strategically to help her. And she's loving it, which I'm really glad about, because I've sent her different videos on emotional abuse and the N-word that we don't say here, that kind of abuse, and CPTSD, and the lingo was just getting too much for her, and I realized that she was going into what's called emotional flashbacks, and she wasn't getting the most that she could out of the video. So I was like, how do I shorten the process? How do I make this quicker? This is right here, right now. So I'm kind of feeling, I told her, I said, you're like in a boxing rink, and I feel like I'm Rocky Balboa's coach. And to give a little caveat here, I also said to her, if you fail, if you lose this round, I will not hold that against you. It took me a lot of years and a lot of mistakes and a lot of falling down and a lot of giving the wrong people too many chances. And she knows how she watched me fall down so many times. And she used to say to me, you trusted that person again? You know, they're a fox. Well, it was a family member, and I was trained to be loyal to family members and to let that trump being loyal to myself. And so she watched me get hurt. And so I said, if you fail this round, I do not want you to feel re-traumatized. I will stand by you and with you. And if you get it, great. So what I want to share with you in this video is what I shared with her that helped her feel strong. So the first thing I did was I wanted to get on the same page as her. I always look for permission before engaging. Even if I've already asked for permission, they've already given it to me. If I know I'm about to share some hard stuff, or if I want to make sure that we're really on the same page and that she's with me, I will do a check-in. I'll ask for permission. And so I'm looking at my phone here. I sent her a text yesterday, and there's an amen sister at the bottom. It was really good. Sorry, it's taking me a minute. Okay, I said, so in regards to this person, here's me asking for permission. So in regards to this person who's saying, oh yeah, I'll see you, I'm going to visit for a bunch of days. Now this, let me call I'm going to call her Rockette, because it's a woman. I'm going to call her Rockette. So I'm working with Rockette, and so, Rockette's about to get this visitor unless she puts her foot down about it. And she knows that if she does, she's going to meet with some heat. She knows that, which is why she's avoiding saying no. So I wrote to her clarifying, bottom line, if you do not concede to her, this other woman, she will act as though she is the victim. Let me know if that makes sense to you. And she wrote back, yes, it does, exclamation point. Now, one of my favorite phrases this year came actually from Chris Voss, who wrote the book, Never Split the Difference. And he's a hostage negotiator for the FBI, and his book is about how to use tactical empathy. So I used to work on a suicide hotline. I have a master's degree in counseling. 99% of what you learn to do is negotiate, but you're negotiating for people for their own behalf, for their own life, for their own joy, for their own well-being. Well, in a hostage negotiation situation, you have 30 seconds to have empathy, to create empathy with the other party. And one of the signs that you know that you did that, so then you can move ahead in the conversation, because if you bully them, you're going to get resistance back from them, is the phrase, that's right. So when somebody says to me, that's right, I'm like, okay, we can go forward. That to me is permission to go forward. So you can use this in sales, you can use it with your kids. I mean, you can use this everywhere. Use it with kindness, use it with love. I mean, you can use it to manipulate people, but when all is said and done, that's not going to make you happier, because anybody who's needing to use that to manipulate people isn't trusting life. That's a fearful person. If you're doing that, you need help. Get help. So she writes back to me, yes, it does. When I said, bottom line, if you do not concede to her, so if you say no, she will act as though she is the victim, because that's what emotionally abusive people do. The prisons are full of people who feel for sure that they were the ones who were victimized. So she said, yes, it makes sense. I got it. That's right. So then I wrote, okay. Then what's happening is that one of you will have to be the victim. Because if you don't say no, you're going to be victimized, and you already know it 10 miles in advance. And you are the one who gets to pick. You're the one who, the hot potato is in your hands, baby. You're the one who's going to have to pick who's going to be the victim. And I said, that's the double bind she is handing you. Because that's what emotionally abusive people do. They hand double binds to the people who they have power over. This creates confusion. It requires a lot of brain calories for the person to try to figure out the double bind until they finally give up and go, these are not solvable equations. And then you finally just give away your power unless you're strong enough to say no or to leave. So double binds is one of their favorite toys or webs. Sticky webs, because a caring person is going to try to solve the double bind unless they are aware that they're dealing with somebody who does not have good intentions. So I said, that's the double bind she's handing you. One of you is going to have to be the victim, and you're going to have to be the one who picks. Oh, joy. Just remember something. I wrote in the text. Just remember, she is lying to you. Big letters. She's lying to you in her victim act. This is some hard stuff. But I'll tell you what, this is empowering joy. It's a clasp on your purse. If you have a clasp on your purse, and you don't walk around with your money hanging out of your pockets, this is the same thing, emotionally. And then I said, she's cornering you by having a conversation about her arrival in front of other people, not just you. So now if you say no, they're going to all look at you like, what's wrong with you? Why would you? So she's got you cornered. And then I wrote smart kitty because Rockette's person who is doing all this, stirring this pot, she's a smart kitty. Emotionally abusive people are not stupid. They're not stupid. Hannibal Lecter, hello, brilliant. It's one of my favorite movies. Smart kitty. I have respect. So Rockette writes back to me, I definitely do not choose to be the victim. So now she's like, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted from her. That's what I was feeling for her, but I can't make a person feel like they're worthy enough to fight for and to stand for. I try to elicit that in them. I can't make them feel it, but I can create a condition where maybe I can get them to feel it, because that's where the power is. So she said, I definitely do not choose, I could just hear her voice, I do not choose to be the victim. And so I posted that picture of, do you remember that commercial? I think it was Maxwell cassette tapes or something, and it was like this guy is sitting in a chair and like there's like wind blowing at him from a stereo speaker. And I said, she's gonna huff and she's gonna puff, guaranteed. And Rockette says to me, that's okay. So I sent her a little meme that says, preach it, sister. Can I get an amen? She goes, amen. So that was last night's text. I'm going to keep going here because I'm going to tell you the whole story. She hasn't had the interaction with the other person yet, but I'm going to tell you the whole story about where she is now, because she is situated good now. So I called her this morning and I said, there's a phrase that you need to know. I said, I know you're having a hard time listening to these, videos about complex post-traumatic stress disorder and things like that. I said, but you know how I said, she had told me that she like hates it when people preach. And I said, why do you hate preachers? She goes, I don't hate preachers. She goes, I just hate it when people preach. I don't care who it is. I don't like being, I said, do I preach to you? She goes, no, you're teaching me. I said, are you sure? She goes, no, you're not preaching, you're teaching. I'm like, okay. So, I said, so when people preach to you, she said, when people do that, she goes, I just go somewhere else. And so that was a teachable moment for me. I said, that's called dissociation. So you're stuck in a place or you feel stuck that you have to keep listening, so you just tune out. I'm like, I mastered that in grade school. I know that really, really well. And she said, yeah, that's exactly what I do. And I said, so when you think about this person who says they're going to come and visit, and you feel traumatized, because she agrees, she feels traumatized when she thinks about it, you have a tendency to dissociate. And I said that part of what's happening is emotional flashbacks. And I said, I want you to know that term. So I'm saying to you, the viewer here on YouTube, I want you to know that term if you don't know it already, emotional flashbacks. And I said to Rockette, you are one of the most emotionally literate people I have ever met in my life. Like, she is one of, like, I could show up to her with any emotion and she will be present with me. I said, except when you have to stand up for yourself in the face of somebody that you're supposed to love. I said, then you lose your emotional literacy, you go into emotional flashback, you betray yourself, you abandon yourself, and what it looks like is fight, flight, freeze. Or friend, to befriend, which is becoming a people pleaser. People say fawn is the more technical term out there. But this woman, Rockette, understands people pleaser, so I just put it in those words. And she's like, yeah, that's exactly what I do. I said, the problem with that is it prevents you from feeling pain, but it also prevents you from being conscious and being able to stand up and say, I don't think so. No, no. It prevents you from being really present in the moment, in the situation. So then I had her recall a moment where she confronted somebody a few weeks ago. And somebody said to her, if you keep talking like that, I'm not going to like you. Or I'm going to, don't make me hate you. And she said, I don't care if you hate me. And when she texted me right after that experience, and she was like on fire. She was so high because she knew that I knew that it wasn't like her to be like that. She's like, I have to tell you this. And I was like, what is it? So she told me. And so this morning I asked her, when you called me a few weeks ago to tell me that story, what did that feel like in your body? Like, I said, I want you to take out like a pen every night and recall that experience, because your body was flooded with feelings and with sensations that were really good and really strong, and it's going to help you deal with this other person because now you're activating strength. So I really like this. It's a feelings wheel. I got it off the internet. I don't know who to credit for it, but I really like it. It's not complete. It's not there's some things missing from it, but I like it. So anyway, I said to her, every night for the next week, I want you to think about that moment when you said, I don't care if you hate me, to this person who has been a bully for so long, who she was loyal to for so long. And she said, I felt proud. And I said, yeah. And I said, what did that feel like in your body? And she said, I felt strong. I was like, yeah. And so I said, for the next week, keep flooding yourself with those feelings, like every night. So for you, the listener here at YouTube, think about a time where you stood strong for you. And it could be that, you negotiated something on your own behalf that was like really amazing. Or you said no to somebody who was really pushing hard. And you knew that it wasn't right. And maybe you did it on somebody else's behalf and not your own, because that's the problem with codependency and complex post-traumatic stress disorder or response. I don't like saying the word disorder because it's not a disorder in my book. It's an intelligent response when somebody's overpowering you to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So anyway, back to finishing this conversation. So anyway, and I also recommended to her that I'm going to recommend to you Richard Grannon, who I really think is on top of the game in this conversation about CPTSD/R response. He did a documentary about narcissistic abuse. Oh, I said the N word. But if you look up documentary, narcissistic abuse, Richard Grannon, it's really good. It's like, and the thing that I like about it is that unlike a lot of these conversations like this one that I'm having with you, this is not easy to share with somebody who's not ready to hear and not ready to listen. This conversation is for someone who's like, oh yeah, I've got a problem. Maybe you can help me, see it differently and solve it. But this is a hard conversation. And so his documentary, so I suggested to Rockette, every time I say that, I feel like I'm the coach in the old guy in the Rocky movie. I love him, just love him. So with Rockette, I said, be sure to watch a documentary. And I said, just notice when you're watching it, if you go into emotional flashback, if you dissociate from your body, if you dissociate from your feelings, anytime you dissociate, just recognize when you're doing it. Recognize when you're in emotional flashback. I said, I just really want you to learn the phrase emotional flashback, because when you learn it, you can then be responsible for popping yourself out of it, and then you're the one in power. So I'm just gonna restate what she said in her text to me. I will not be a victim. Yes. So I will end on that. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for being with me here in this conversation. I think the more we talk about it, the more the fog goes away, the more clear we get, the more powerful we get, the more loud, big, and beautiful joy has a chance to become. So bring it on, baby. Bring it on. Okay, bye for now.